Greetings and welcome, citizens, to a new Let's Play. Welcome to Frostpunk. Right, so I decided to cool down a bit and play something a little bit outside of my genre, I suppose. Although, depending on how you play this game, you can get really close to the evil overlord bit. Not the point, however. Frostpunk, made by the people who made this War of Mine, if I remember correctly, is a sort of a study into desperate situations, I suppose you could say. How do you deal with something tragic? Something truly beyond your control? And how do you respond? Now, my apologies if the music's perhaps a bit loud, but that's because the music in this game is particularly good. Now, I've already played this game a couple of times, and alright, that may be a bit too loud. Let's get the settings down a bit. Alright, that should be enough. Anyway, and I do enjoy the game for what it is. It's not a particularly long game, which, you know, depending on the scenario which you're playing, of course. But overall, the experience, I feel, is still worth what the asking price. Just in case anyone asking front, because there is a little bit of replayability between each play session you do, and there's multiple ways of playing things. Now, there's 3 main scenarios you can do, and a 4th one that's coming soon. When, I don't know. We are going to be playing the main story, A New Home, which I do believe is more or less the most fleshed out of these scenarios. The other 2 are fun, but different fun. They pose different challenges, and as such, your enjoyment of them will vary. Now, I'll just select the scenario New Home. We can customize the scenario to whatever degree we want. Now, in my honest opinion, once you know how the game works, medium becomes ridiculously easy. To a degree. I mean, you really have to either not be paying attention or be going for some weird strategy that you're pushing your levels of what you're trying to do. However, I have also beaten the game on hard. Now, I'm not going to be playing hard because, for one thing, that requires me to concentrate a great deal, because on hard the challenge really ramps up, especially if you put all the sliders over, which I did, but not the point. I just want to enjoy the game for a bit, and frankly, I've talked enough. Let's let the game introduce itself. Yes, that is pretty much true.
We roam the still, cold world. No horizon in sight. The rulers of old, stripped of pride and glory. It feels as yesterday we were turning the wheels of progress. Until the frost stopped it all. Suddenly, without a warning. When tides had changed, they changed for all of us, no matter wealth or class. We've lost our world to snow. And with it, our last traces of humanity. We bid farewell to plenty, and for those who remained came the time to adapt. We decided to leave our homes and head north. We roamed for weeks, maybe months, leaving behind all the things we once believed had made us. It was hope that pushed us forward. Slowly, step by step, we knew the cost of our journey, and we paid the price 100 times. Finally, the time has come to build the last city on Earth.
A new home. We fled from London and crossed the sea to reach the frozen north. On the way, our convoy was hit by a blizzard and scattered. A handful of us managed to reach the site of this generator, only to find it frozen solid and abandoned. Why is no one here? Did any of our people survive the blizzard? Are there others out there? Whatever we do, we should expect the worst. Now that the world as we know it has crumbled, we have to survive. Alright, we need to fight the cold. We need to get the generator working. It provides heat and power to other buildings. Without it, we'll freeze to death. Stockpile some coal and start the generator. Okay. Alright, so the game will give me useful hints whenever it's necessary. I did turn off the tutorial overall because while it is useful, it is a little bit of intrusion because it makes a sound that just really can get on your nerves. But here we are. The world is frozen over into a single glacier. We are in a city that is pretty much dug out of the ice, that is grown over a forest. There's some bits of trees are still available, but most of the trees are actually underneath the ice, which will become important later. We currently have 80 homeless people that are really mad about that. We have some resources, but that's only because I'm starting on medium difficulty. On hard difficulty, you basically start with nothing and you have only 50 food, which again explains the challenge. Not important right now. We only have these stockpiles, which don't need to be heated at all. Kinda wish I could move the stockpiles away from there, but there's no button to remove the stockpiles, so not important either. Now, we need to get the generator working. We currently have not enough coal. It requires at least 6 coal to turn it on. And we can get coal from these piles that are around the generator. And that's wood. Yeah, I think the rest of these are just wood or steel. Now, we need to get our people to work. Currently we have 50 regular workers, 15 engineers and 15 children who cannot work. Unless we pass a law to allow them to work. I say allow, I of course mean force them to work. Because, you know, this game is kinda like that. So what plan should we start with at the start? Well, it depends a little bit on how you wish to play. Actually, let's close this for a moment. Now, you can play this game a couple of ways, in particular because of a choice that comes up later but is not important right now. Because we need to keep control of these 2 bars. Now, discontent you want to keep low, and hope you want to keep high. If discontent ever gets too high, people will become angry and we will throw it out of the city. If hope becomes too low, people will become hopeless and throw you out of the city. So, you know, they at least have their plan together. We shall endeavor to not let that happen, of course. Now, you may want to play around with how much discontent you actually are willing to put up with. Because discontent essentially is another resource in this game. Hope, not so much. Hope you want to always have high. There is, you can't really trade hope for anything useful. It's just necessary really for the vitality of the city. That is, of course, if you choose to keep hope throughout the entire playthrough, which can change later on. This playthrough, as I am going to play it, will endeavor to not lose hope. We will keep hope until the bitter end. If that end is truly bitter, we shall see, but until then, we will maintain hope at all costs. Now, we have the Book of Laws, where we can adapt. Find ways to battle hunger, sickness, and apathy. How to deal with this? Now, you do kind of want to pass laws as quickly as possible for the needs of the city, since there is a cooldown after each law is passed. So, what do we need right now? Right now, I think having emergency shifts available might be useful. This will allow us to work anything we want for, well, most of the things we want for 24 hours. This kind of overwork can be a strain on your people, so overusing it will likely cause deaths. But we'll sign the law anyway.
Hear me! New law in the city!
Now, I could have also done the law, if we just go back to it for a moment, to get the child labor for save laws. Child labor would be nice in the start, if you really need some extra hands to gather some more stuff, because that's the only job they can really do. It's either gather stuff or cook food, really. I don't really feel that's necessary, and in practice I find I don't really need children to be workers at all. Depending on what path you choose to take. For instance, if you only rescue the people from your convoy, then yes, I would say you would need the children to work, because you will definitely need them. If you, however, rescue many more than that, you probably don't need the children to work. Instead, they can do something a little bit more useful, but anyway. So what our people right now need is housing, perhaps some health, but right now that's not a critical. They will definitely need a cookhouse, probably a hunter's hut, if we can afford it. A resource depot is not currently necessary. The gathering post will maybe make things a little bit easier, but it's not an immediate concern, and you can skip this if you want. I mean, at the present, the temperature is -20. This makes it chilly in most areas of the city. Being chilly means that there's a small chance of people getting ill. On medium difficulty, this chance is indeed quite small. On hard, it is not. And they will get ill at pretty much when you look at people. So you can just forego the gathering post, because having the gathering post will allow people to gather the resources in relative safety. However, we only have a little under 2-3 days before the temperature drops 2 levels, which basically means it becomes -40. At that point, it becomes unsafe. It becomes either cold or very cold in any of the gathering spots, which you really don't want. Especially at the start, you don't want people to die from cold. However, since I want my people to do as much useful stuff as possible, I am gonna set up an early gatherings post. Again, like I said, you don't need this per se, but I like to do it anyway. So we'll do this. I'll connect it with the street. We may have to remove that later, but for now this is useful. And as long as we are busy, I'm gonna set people up to gather the resources. I kind of want all the coal as possible, and no, let's actually gather some steel. Other than that, I kind of want to have a lab, which I can't currently do because I am almost out of wood. Because I am gonna try for some achievements this run, but let's just get started, really. Alright, so I'm discontent from the law we just passed because they don't like it. And let's speed things up. Now, I don't need to turn the generator on right now because people are working, so they're not going to benefit from it. The steam level that we're going to raise is basically just going to be a small ring around the city, about as wide as the stockpiles, which will become useful later, but right now it's not important. Alright. Get a workshop going. Let's see, if I twist it I can better see what rings I want. So this is the first ring, second ring, third ring, alright, fourth ring. We'll put it there. Again, I may not be playing optimally, but for now that'll do fine. Alright, so essentially you can come back from that and start working in here. Now you can see the gathering post has a livable temperature, which means a very low risk of getting ill, which we definitely want. I can't currently change anything. I could raise this up, but anyways, people working in the gathering post will gather from every pile around them, which can be very useful. Alright, so we have the tech tree. Now the first thing I kind of want is to go up to level 1. So I need a lot more wood. But since I'm waiting for wood at the moment, let's actually get the hunter's gear. Now it's not strictly speaking necessary, before we continue, it's not strictly speaking necessary for me to do this. I just want to. I also don't want to go to full speed because that kind of makes me gloss over stuff. Now we are approaching the end of the workday. And we're not going to be finishing this. Alright. Well, let's get that going first. People from our convoy, family torn apart. Sir, a woman came forward after you built the workshop. She said her husband and daughter didn't reach the city with the main rope, but she's sure they're still out there. She wants to join the first scout team we'll send out. She urges you to hurry. We'll do what we can. Now that is indeed something we do need to go into, and that's building a beacon. We can't do that right now because I'm busy with something else, but we will certainly go for that. Because we will need that. Alright. Let's turn the generator on. Housing problem, no roof over our heads. Captain, people are understandably concerned about the lack of shelter. They're falling ill from sleeping outside in this terrible cold. We'd better do something about it. So I can offer them some shelter. So I have 2 days to build shelter for 40 people. Or I have to build shelter for everyone. But like I say, I don't really care about this right now. This is not strictly speaking true, but I will have to wait for that. The generator hums with reassuring warmth, but we shouldn't take it for granted. If the generator goes down, the city dies. Be mindful of coal reserves. Now, food. There'll be no city if we starve to death. Secure a way to provide raw food and build a cookhouse to prepare meals. Which I have already done. So now that the free time has started, people are now free to do whatever they need. So they'll start building buildings. And the hunters teams, I believe, yeah, they leave. They would have left now if the hunting hut was finished. Which it isn't. Alright, so anything within this heat zone is essentially livable, I believe. Yeah. And anyone in that zone is comfortable. Now, I don't have any housing. I could build housing, but I'm not going to. Because I'm going for the achievement that I never built any tents. Just in case you're wondering. But that of course requires me to first create houses. A word of advice, the wisdom of the crowd. Captain, when facing demands, remember this. People usually look for the quickest solution, not the best one. You don't have to agree to everything they ask for. If you fix the problem your way, it is fine. Thank you. I'll bear it in mind. Yeah, and my way is to build better houses right off the bat. This is not an optimal strategy, by the way. Just in case you're wondering. It's a very unoptimal strategy because bunkhouses, the next level up, are actually quite expensive to build. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Alright, so now I need to find people to man the house, so I'll take them off the wood here and send them out to find food. Just so I can generate more food stockpile. This is not strictly speaking necessary either right away, but I do want to have a little bit of food stockpiled so I can start converting it into actual food before long. Alright, let's speed through the night. The game always saves at midnight. Alright, so now people are starting to fall ill. This we do not want. So let's set up a... No, actually that can wait. Alright, we can introduce a new law. Adaptation. Now, what do we want next? I could extend my food supplies by either producing soup or food additives. Soup will simply just double the amount of food you get per raw food. Whereas food additives triple that, I believe. At least I think so, but... yeah. But people who eat it fall ill more often. Not right now. Let's go back. We don't currently have a medical post, but if we do, I could have radical treatments turned on. This will use possibly dangerous treatments on people, maybe causing some amputees in the process in medical posts. Mind you, it does only say medical posts, not better forms of healthcare that we'll get later. Or we could just sustain life. Now, sustain life I don't really ever use because, for one, it is inefficient. Depending, of course, on how many people you have. Because, essentially, people who are ill, or gravely ill, will stay in the medical post and will block access for other people who fall ill, who will then turn gravely ill, who then can go nowhere and die. Now, you can solve this by a law you can propose later, but you know... Alright, I'll just go with extended shift. Make people a little bit madder at me.
A new law has passed.
Yep. Like I said, discontent is a resource. Right now, we can use it. Alright. It does always do this at around this... at 5 o'clock in the morning. It slows down to 1 speed. That's an odd key combination. Alright, well, we're almost ready for work again. And the Hunter's Hut should be back soon with 15 food. Alright, do I have any surplus people? Yeah, you can work in the wood pile then. I kinda just want to deplete these coal piles so that I don't have to worry about them anymore and conserve my wood and food for something else. Alright, we're almost to the point where I need to be. Alright. Give me drawing boards. Alright, any further wood we get, we don't turn into something else. Alright, medical post requires 25. Alright, medical post. We'll get over here. We don't really need it right now. Let's get you over here and let's get our engineers in the medical post. That should reduce the amount of sick people we have and get them back to work.
Time to rest, folks. Work's out for today.
Well, actually it is not. Alright, workers are needed. There's much to do and not enough hands to do it. A quick way of addressing this problem is to put our children to work. Let's open the Book of Laws, which now became available. I can put children to work, which right now they can only do safe jobs if I did that. Which later on I can sign a law to make them do all jobs. But you know what? No. Their children are not meant for that work.
Hear me. New law in the city.
Alright. Now I could build a shelter, but right now I need a cookhouse. Yeah, the people are complaining. Should use my time more efficiently. Let's also get this law finished. The research finished. And like I said, don't overuse that button too much, because people will eventually fall ill and will eventually die from that. Alright, we can now start research on this once we have enough wood. And after that, I really need to find another source of wood. People from our convoy. Alright, stop that. Alright, so now we can actually start creating food. It's not necessary to build this right away, but after the second day, people will really want to have some food. Alright. Alright, let's actually just start research. Alright, this wood pile has been cleaned out. And this gathering hut is almost served its purpose. And someone has died. Death from overwork. One of our people died suddenly during an emergency shift. We don't know what happened, but it's likely it was a heart attack. We must make sacrifices to survive. Yes, we must. Alright, there's no one seriously ill right now, so you can go back to work over there. Right, one of our people has just died. Sickness, accidents and deadly cold will keep claiming lives in this harsh world. We need a way to dispose of the body. The people can take care of it themselves. I mean, I could open the Book of Laws, but that won't really do anything right now. So, because I can't do another law anyway. We need to wait another 11 hours before I can do anything. So we will wait another 11 hours. Alright, the steel is almost cleaned out. Alright, people are getting a little bit sick over there. Alright, so we're now getting some actual food, so... Alright, let's get this going. Alright, let's make sure we don't waste too much. Let's get the bacon going. Alright, now, bunkhouses are a little bit over-leveled for this point, but since I don't want to build any tents, we'll use them anyway. I still have 2 days before I need to build a child center. Shelter. But we'll get started on a house. And we'll continue this next time. Thank you for watching.